Hooray! You just made your app interactive for the user. Before, when you tap on the button, it didn't do anything. But now, with some code changes, when you tap on the button, it actually updates something on the screen. Great job! Let's try to dig deeper into what you just accomplished. First, you added a new Android onClick attribute on the button XML element. This means when the button is clicked on, then it will try to perform, or execute as we say in Java, a set of instructions that have been named submit order. Okay, going into the main activity file that we gave you, I know there's a lot of weird symbols and words on this screen, but all you need to know now is that this is a method and it's named submit order. A method can contain multiple lines of Java code, and this translates into a set of instructions that the device can understand and perform. If there were multiple lines of code in this method, the device would perform the first line first, and then the second line, and so on until the bottom of the method. The reason why we give methods a name is so that we can easily refer to it later. For example, in the XML, we can refer to the method submit order now. It's sort of how I have a name, you have a name. If you had a pet, you would also give it a name so that you can easily refer to it. So in code, if we have a bunch of statements that we want to refer to, we can put it inside a method and then give the method a name. So remember in lesson 1 how we told you that XML has very specific syntax rules that determine whether something is valid XML or not? Well, Java has similar types of rules for determining what is valid Java code. For methods, the statements inside of them must be contained within this opening squiggly brace and this closing squiggly brace. Up here, this is also a method called onCreate. The statements inside this method are contained within this opening brace and this closing brace. And lastly, there's this method which is called display. The code statements inside of it are marked off by this opening brace and this closing brace. You'll also notice that there's also an opening and closing brace for the main activity. All the functionality of the main activity is defined within this opening and closing brace. So far, this main activity contains 3 methods inside it. So after you declare a method, which means defining the method, then you can actually use that method. In this example, we declare the display method and then we use it on this line of code, where we call it by its name. So this is where we declare the method, and this is where we call the method. So to summarize, when the button is pressed in the UI, then it triggers the submit order method to be called. Then we execute each line of code in the submit order method from the top of the method to the bottom of the method. In this case, there's only one code statement in there, so we just run that. Okay, now let's look at this line of code here that says display 1. The reason why I picked this line of code is because it seems like the number inside the parentheses is what gets displayed on the screen here. So when I click on this order button here in the UI, then it triggers the submit order method to be called in the main activity. Then we perform this line of code here that says display 1. And that updates the screen to show 1 here. So if I change this to be 2 here, what do you think will happen? Let's run the app to find out. And now when I click on this button, it shows 2. Clicking on the order button triggers the submit order method to be called, and then we perform this line of code that says display 2. And that's what updates the screen to show 2. Now it's your turn. Can you try changing this number here in parentheses to a different number? You can pick another small number, a big number, or even a negative number. Once you've experimented with this line of code in the main activity, then check this box when you're done.